In the heart of the northeastern United States lies Philadelphia, a city steeped in history, where the very foundations of a nation were laid. It's a place synonymous with freedom, marked by iconic landmarks like the Liberty Bell and Independence Hall, and where the Declaration of Independence was signed. Yet, beyond the bustling markets, grand colonial architecture, and the gleaming modernity of its skyscrapers, Philadelphia harbors a sobering reality, one that is often obscured from public view. In its labyrinthine alleys, beneath overpasses, and tucked away in city parks exists a vulnerable population. Those who navigate life without a roof over their heads, without direction, and often without certainty. The unseen crisis. A deeper look at homelessness. These are individuals who have lost their footing, their voices, and sometimes even their very identities. Homeless in America is a pervasive issue, and in Philadelphia, it manifests acutely, affecting over 40 people at any given time. This statistic, however, merely scratches the surface of a far more profound narrative. Approximately 200 individuals are living unsheltered on the streets, in parks, or under bridges each night, while countless others experience hidden homelessness, relying on the couches of friends, sleeping in their vehicles, or finding temporary refuge in places never meant for dwelling. Who are these individuals? They are former factory workers displaced by economic shifts, veterans returning home burdened by invisible traumas, LGBTQ youth cast out from their families, single mothers unable to meet exorbitant rental costs, and even children. None of them ever envisioned a life defined by such precarity. Their circumstances are the confluence of a perfect storm, the relentless march of economic crisis, a severe shortage of affordable housing, a burgeoning mental health crisis, and the devastating opioid epidemic. In Philadelphia, rents have surged at a rate far outpacing income growth, making stable housing an unreachable luxury for many. Social assistance, when available, often arrives too late or proves woefully inadequate. This is not merely a housing issue, it is a stark reflection of deep-rooted systemic inequality. It's not about a lack of work ethic or poor life choices, it's about a glaring disparity in opportunity. When the fundamental human need for shelter becomes a luxury, the specter of homelessness can loom over anyone, including those who, just yesterday, seemed indistinguishable from us. A day in the life, the harsh reality of survival. Imagine waking each morning without the comfort of a roof overhead, the familiar sound of an alarm, the warmth of hot coffee, or the privacy of a bathroom. On the unforgiving streets of Philadelphia, routine isn't dictated by work or school, but by the raw imperative of survival. Mornings often begin with a desperate search for a safe, private space to attend to basic needs, perhaps a public library or a sympathetic fast food establishment. Then commences the daily quest for sustenance, marked by long queues at soup kitchens, the hope for leftovers from local churches, or simply relying on the fleeting mercy of passers-by. Every step taken on these streets is fraught with peril. Possessions are vulnerable to theft, sleep offers little respite from the threat of robbery, and interactions with law enforcement can be unpredictable. Paradoxically, the deepest pain can also stem from being utterly ignored, as if one ceases to exist. Sleep is perpetually restless, often found on a cold park bench or a sidewalk corner, with a piece of cardboard serving as a meager barrier against the elements. Winter's biting cold can claim lives silently, while summer's heat brings the constant threat of dehydration. Those living on the streets lose more than just a home. They forfeit their sense of security, their privacy, and their dignity. Many strive valiantly to maintain their appearance, utilizing shelter facilities for showers and meticulously combing their hair, clutching onto the last vestiges of self-respect. But this becomes an arduous battle when met with suspicious glances or the dismissive turn of a head. We often speak of the homeless as if they possess a singular face, yet they embody thousands of unique stories. Amidst the city's relentless rhythm, their lives unfold slowly, sometimes seeming to halt altogether. But it is not the hunger, the cold, or the absence of a bed that inflicts the most profound wound. It is the agonizing realization that they are rendered invisible, considered non-existent by the very society that surrounds them. Battling the tide, Efforts and obstacles in Philadelphia. Philadelphia is not standing idly by in the face of this escalating crisis. Across the city, emergency shelters open their doors, offering a sanctuary for those with no other options. Hundreds of beds are filled nightly, yet a distressing number of individuals are still forced to sleep outdoors due to limited capacity. Some shelters demand early arrival, requiring registration before lines swell, while others enforce strict rules regarding luggage or early morning departures. While some find these facilities helpful, many feel unsafe, preferring the harsh realities of street life over the cramped public confines of a shelter where privacy and peace are scarce commodities. Behind these complex systems, thousands of dedicated social workers and volunteers tirelessly fight to alleviate suffering. They traverse the city streets, offering food, blankets, and a compassionate ear, remembering names that others have forgotten. Project Home, established in 1989, stands as a cornerstone of the city's social assistance framework. They build more than just shelters. They cultivate hope, firmly believing in the principle of housing first, that stable shelter is the foundational human need, preceding discussions about employment, therapy, or rehabilitation. Complementing their efforts is Broad Street Ministry, which provides not only showers and meals, but also a vital space where individuals are acknowledged by name, fostering connections and cultivating trust. Despite these valiant efforts, the system faces immense challenges: limited budgets, slow bureaucratic processes, and deeply entrenched social stigma. Many are denied shelter because they have pets, others are turned away due to untreated mental health issues, and some do not meet the strict criteria for chronically homeless, thus falling outside immediate priority. When aid is contingent upon rigid categories, countless individuals inevitably slip through the cracks. On paper, help appears accessible, but in reality, not everyone who desperately needs it can obtain it. And as the waiting process drags on, life on the streets continues, relentlessly, without security, without a home. Homeless in America often means navigating a labyrinth of regulations and limitations. The nexus of crises: mental health and opioid epidemic. In the northern reaches of Philadelphia lies Kensington, a neighborhood where the crisis of homelessness starkly converges with the opioid epidemic. Some refer to it as ground zero for America's drug crisis, where sidewalks are strewn with discarded syringes like fallen leaves, and alleys conceal figures hunched over, caught between agony and fleeting euphoria. Among them are many who have not only lost their homes, but also control over their bodies and minds. Opioid addiction often begins innocuously, perhaps with prescribed painkillers, a work injury, or lingering trauma. But once ensnared, few can escape without substantial help that rarely arrives in a timely manner. The city's mental health system, like so many others, is critically understaffed, underfunded, and plagued by extensive waiting lists. A significant portion of the homeless population grapples with severe mental illnesses such as schizophrenia, PTSD, bipolar disorder, and major depression. Yet, without a permanent address, insurance, or identification, access to therapy and treatment remains an insurmountable barrier. Consequently, many are left to wander, their profound wounds festering. This is where street drugs offer a desperate, albeit costly, reprieve. While drug addiction and mental illness are not the sole causes of homelessness, they tragically exacerbate the situation, trapping individuals in a cycle that becomes increasingly difficult to break. When someone loses command of their mind, society often recoils, allowing stigma to eclipse empathy. We are often quicker to judge than to understand, but we must acknowledge that no one desires such a life. No child dreams of becoming an addict. No teenager aspires to sleep on a sidewalk. They are victims of a system that failed to catch them when they fell. In this multifaceted crisis, what is desperately needed is more than just a tent or a meal. It's access to comprehensive rehabilitation, psychological support, and, most importantly, the profound opportunity to heal. Every individual deserves to heal, and every wound, visible or invisible, merits treatment with compassion and respect. The challenge of being homeless in America is often intertwined with untreated mental health conditions and addiction. The glimmer of hope, innovative solutions, and recovery. Amidst the pervasive darkness of Philadelphia's homelessness crisis, a persistent light flickers small yet unextinguished. This city is not solely a place where hope is lost, it is also where hope, slowly but surely, begins to rebuild. One of the most significant breakthroughs has emerged from a simple yet revolutionary principle: housing first. This approach doesn't postpone housing until an individual recovers. Instead, it provides stable housing as the fundamental cornerstone of recovery. Organizations like Project Home, Pathways to Housing PA, and Valley Youth House have consistently demonstrated that when individuals are stably housed, they are far better equipped to confront addiction, access necessary treatments, and secure employment. In communities like Francis House of Peace, formerly homeless individuals now reside in their own small apartments, possessing keys, doors, and names on mailboxes, tangible symbols of reclaimed dignity. Beyond housing, social innovation is flourishing. Broad Street Ministry, for instance, transcends the simple act of providing food. It creates a space where individuals are acknowledged by their names, fostering vital relationships and cultivating trust. Mobile clinics extend medical care to those unable to reach hospitals, dispatching doctors, nurses, and counselors directly to city sidewalks. There are also impactful job training programs, micro businesses operated by formerly homeless individuals, and transitional community models that champion collaboration over mere handouts. Perhaps most powerfully, there are the inspiring stories of recovery. Derek, once an opioid user, now serves as a rehabilitation counselor. Lena, who endured 3 years living in a tent, now successfully operates a small catering business, employing other individuals experiencing homelessness. These stories stand as irrefutable proof that recovery is possible. But what they require is not pity, it is opportunity. For behind every makeshift tent, there is an individual waiting to be uplifted. Behind every dark narrative, there lies the profound potential for a brighter new chapter. In this city, once the birthplace of American freedom, perhaps it is time for Philadelphia to again become the birthplace of hope, not merely for the nation, but for every human being, especially those most forgotten. The struggle of being homeless in America can find solace and strength in these compassionate initiatives. A call to action, redefining home. Along the bustling streets of Philadelphia, from its vibrant downtown to the hidden enclaves of Kensington, thousands of stories unfold daily, largely unnoticed. They do not capture headlines or trend on social media, yet they are profoundly real and irrevocably part of our collective human experience. Homelessness is far more than merely losing a place to live. It is a fractured mirror reflecting the systemic cracks within our society. It shows us how effortlessly one can fall and how agonizingly difficult it is to rise again. We might reflexively ask, why don't they just get a job? Or, isn't there help available? But a more honest and challenging question is this: how can we live comfortably when so many of our fellow citizens are sleeping on sidewalks? Perhaps those experiencing homelessness are not merely others. They could be us, or someone we know, individuals who faced an unforeseen accident, lost a job, endured a painful breakup, or succumbed to depression. In life, the distance between having a home and being homeless is often just one single disaster away. So, what can we do? We can begin by perceiving them not as nuisances or problems to be swept aside, but as fellow human beings, sharing the same wounds, hopes, and fundamental rights. We can advocate for policies that champion social justice and work to dismantle the systemic inequalities that perpetuate this crisis. We can choose to care, even in the smallest of ways, by offering a simple greeting, by volunteering our time, or even by simply refraining from judgment. For significant change always finds its roots in small acts of courage, the courage to care. In Philadelphia, houses stand strong and buildings rise high. Yet, the true strength of a city is not measured by the towering height of its structures, but by how compassionately it treats its most vulnerable members. And perhaps, when we truly grasp the profound meaning of home, we will realize that home is not merely a physical dwelling, but a place where every individual feels inherently worthy of living. The challenge of addressing homelessness in America requires a fundamental shift in perspective and collective action.